This is a bombshell.
It was extraordinary.
And it was a disaster.
The OJ Simpson saga, the trial was 30 years ago, back in 1995. The witness that saw OJ, well, almost ran into him as he left the scene of the crime on June 12th, 1994. Think about any just common thing that happened to you 30 years ago where you almost got hit by somebody.
I see blood on his hand. I just see Naked Gun.
Jill Shively was just going about her night in Los Angeles when she had a near collision with a speeding white Bronco driven by none other than OJ Simpson. A key witness in the case that gripped the world, Jill's testimony could have changed the course of history. Now, 30 years later, she shares her first-hand account of that fateful night and the fallout that followed.
Just like probably 2 days prior, was sometime close prior to that, so I recognized his voice. I
Recognize his voice. Why? Did he actually talk to you?
No, he was yelling at the other driver, move, move, get out of the way, because there was that gray Nissan that was blocking him from moving forward.
How there was no more blood found in the Bronco. He thought that he drove to the underground parking garage at his office and then switched Broncos with AC Kaelin.
I was there at night for 4 hours, sitting in a car cold. So going over my story over and over again.
Yeah.
But it was dark, and it was like I felt like I was in a horror flick, you know, because the wind was blowing, it was fall. I was driving in a Bronco.
Well, it's the 30-year anniversary of the trial of the century. The OJ Simpson saga, the trial was 30 years ago, back in 1995. And let me tell you something. If you think the story is going to die down, if you think people are going to lose interest in the biggest news story in the history of planet Earth, it's not going to happen. And we're going to talk about that today with a couple of the people that were intertwined in all of it. Welcome, everybody. I'm Tom Zenner, host of One Degree of Scandalous, with the one and only Kato Kaelin.
I love Kato.
Yeah, so Kato, the big news right now is Netflix is releasing their docuseries called Manhunt, OJ Simpson. I've been waiting for this for a long time. You and I knew this was coming out. So
Tom, you told me, you said, Kato, you got to watch this. I watched the series, and I love how the detail, attention to detail, they have it down to the second. They put a clock of everything that's happening at that moment. So I don't know if they're going to do the same with the OJ series. I think they are, because it just makes it even that much more compelling to know the timeline. And with the timelines that are so important, we discussed before in the OJ trial, we are probably one of the most important persons here.
Yes, we do.
With the timeline. And I still say to myself, this guest that we have would have been the most important witness.
Yeah, Kato, and the Netflix, everybody will have seen the Netflix. We're taping this a day before it drops. So we're super excited. I saw the trailer, and we've been in touch with the producers of this show for months and months and months. We helped them on some of the casting, which has been great. But the way they do their docs, Kato, the Manhunt series is so freaking good because it's almost like a timeline. It's a clock. It's almost like ticking, and it just pumps up the dramatic elements of this thing. You feel like you're right there. I mean, they're masters at creating this, and it worked for the Boston bombing. It's going to work even better for this. And you can tell from the trailer. You saw it, right? They had Paula Abdul, cold-hearted snake. You know, it's just faster paced. It's moving. It doesn't look like the other documentaries that have been done on this story.
I think the reason they put the timeline in, like on the Boston Marathon, I think it's because of every trial, not just the OJ trial, trials in general, everything goes to the timeline. So I think people will relate to that. They say they follow the timeline of when it could have happened, what is in between this minute, that minute, where's this person at? So I think that's why Michael, one of the producers of Michael Radutsky from Netflix, I just think that makes it much more compelling with the 60-minute sort of.
Oh yeah.
And just you can't wait for the. I think it's in 4 parts, right?
Yeah, it's 4 parts.
It's going to be viewed 1 through 4.
You're going to binge that.
People are going to
Good
binge
luck
it.
not binging that, right?
That's a binge.
Yeah, and every episode just ends with a cliffhanger. You go, oh my God, I got to get that next one. Unlike Apple TV, which leaves you hanging, right? They'll do 2 episodes and then they'll only do 1 a week for the next 2.5 months.
People don't understand that.
Come on, man.
Apple goes rotten and within 10 minutes. It turns brown. I know
That's
that to be a fact. I just do them right in a row. Eat the whole apple.
Or mash that sucker up and make applesauce or something.
Yes.
All right. So Kato's.
Which, by the way, may I mention something? Every Halloween, my grandma does a bobbing for applesauce contest. She has no teeth.
She's won it like 69 years in a row. She's a champion.
It's bobbing for applesauce. Okay.
All right. So if you've seen the doc already, don't worry about it. We're going to talk about the making of it, and we're just going to talk about the OJ frenzy that will never, ever die. Kato was in the trailer. He's in the doc. He's all over it. So is our other guest. She's been on our show before. Welcome, the one and only Jill Shively. Jill, great to have you back here. The first time in our new studio, right underneath the Hollywood sign here. So thank you. This is your third time joining us. And, you know, people have grown to love you on this channel. They've heard your story. They support you.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it, right? The witness that saw OJ, almost ran into him as he left the scene of the crime on June 12th, 1994, minutes after he had dinner, maybe half hour or so, 45 minutes after he had dinner at McDonald's with Kato. All right, today's episode is sponsored by my great friends at Aura. We've been working with Aura for months, and they've done amazing things for so many of our fans and viewers. They have a great offer that I'm going to share with you that I hope you take advantage of. Now, I use Aura, and they protected me from hackers and made me feel much more secure. Think about the number of spam calls or texts that you receive each day. Phone's constantly pinging, right? Have you ever found yourself second guessing whether a message was real or a scam? What about a time when you were waiting for an important call? Did you end up answering every unknown number just in case? How did that experience make you feel? Aura will help remove your personal information from data brokers and people's search sites that can sell your info to identity thieves, scammers, and more. Or if you've ever experienced identity theft, think about what happened and how it impacted you. What did you learn from that experience? And what steps did you take to recover? Sharing your story can help others understand the importance of protecting their identity and inspire them to take action with Aura and their different features to avoid similar situations. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points like the dark web and public court records to alert you about potential identity theft. Every adult on the account, up to 5, gets $1 million in identity theft insurance to help cover eligible losses and fees with a total of up to $5 million in coverage. I get this all in one app in one affordable price. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches and brokers. And if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/1degree to try it for 2 weeks for free. That will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed. Take advantage of the special offer from our friends at Aura. Go to aura.com/1degree to try 2 weeks for free. It is an amazing service, and that is a fantastic offer. Jill, just going about her business that night, trying to get a late night salad right before it closed.
Something to close.
Trader Vic's.
Westward Ho.
Westward Ho. And then, boom, out of nowhere. And it's 30 years. It's over 30 years now. And is it still as ingrained in your mind and the memory is just fresh as the night it happened?
Yes, it's a nightmare. I would even have nightmares about it, like flashing through almost crashing into him, me being there, beating myself up. Like someone said, "Oh, you should have just run into him." Like, I didn't know at the time what was happening, but I was trying to save my life,
Can you imagine how the story is so different if you crash into the Bronco?
Exactly.
I mean, really, who wouldn't do something different in life if they had a chance? But at the moment, you didn't know. You were like, this car's about to hit me.
Yeah.
This is dangerous.
I had a small bug, and he had a Bronco, you know?
Plus, his lights are off, so it's even you could have even had an accident because not seeing the car.
Right, and exactly. And I was thinking about my life. I was a single parent, taking care of my daughter. I'm like, what the heck stuff? And I was thinking it was a drunk driver, like, why would you not have your lights on?
Right.
Yeah. And that's what you called and reported, that you thought a drunk driver almost hit you.
Yeah.
And you knew once he got out, the voice, some of the things registered. The smartest thing you did was memorize that license plate.
3CZW788. I'll never forget that. It was like,
say it again.
3CZW788. And I'd report him. I was mad. I was like, this guy's. When I realized it was OJ, I was thinking, man, I've seen him in the village. Like, what a jerk. He's driving. I would never have thought, well, he just committed a murder, like he has to be drunk or something. Because one of my friends is a cop. He goes, when you're drunk, you forget to turn on your headlights most of the time. That's how they stop people. Because why are you doing with your headlights? Well, I don't know, man.
Yeah, because back then, not everything was automatic on your headlights, right? You'd have to physically turn them on. Probably
that car was
on
like
a lot
a
of
94
vehicles.
Bronco or 92.
I think it was 93
like that,
or 92.
Yeah.
So it didn't come automatically on, but.
Well, we're going to talk about the Netflix that docuseries that you both are in. I can't wait to see it. By the time everybody watches this, we'll all have seen it. But I know the work that these guys do, it's going to be incredible. Kato, I'll start with you. You know, when you were involved in the taping of it,
Right.
as you are every single documentary and movie that's done on this. Anything different about the way Netflix handled this, their level of production? Maybe you could tell their budget's just a little bit bigger. The questions were different. Anything like that?
I think it's this location. First of all, it was private. It was undisclosed. You didn't know where you're going. It was a long drive, and you're down this road. I go, I got to be in the wrong area. There's nothing out here until I found out that it's Cal State Pomona.
Cal Poly Pomona.
Cal Poly Pomona.
It's their abandoned
Aban-
section.
Oh, that's what. And it is abandoned. It would be a great place to do a horror film. So,
Yeah,
anyways, I
that's
drive
what I was
down
thinking.
this-
Halloween.
Yeah, it's that. I'm going. Is this going to be a scam? Is this really happening? So finally, I found the crew,
Yeah.
and it was down this long road. Tom, I went down. I'm seeing
It's
all these
scary at
empty
night.
buildings, and I'm going. I think I'm in the wrong spot. Finally, I saw the cars, the production trucks. Yeah, it was big budget.
Yeah.
And then I did my taping inside a house that was on the campus. So there was like buildings, and there was a house. It must have been like a house for a lot of the professors or something, a break room. And yeah, I sat in there for 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, the non-glamorous part of being in Hollywood, right? That the part people don't know about. You're sitting around, you're waiting.
Yeah.
Was it at nighttime or daytime?
It went from day to night.
Oh, okay.
Evening.
Yeah.
I was an early call. I got there early because I didn't make sure that I saw the directions of the traffic, how long it was going to take on my
Yeah.
Waze app. I said I better be
Yeah.
on time.
It was a long drive.
Yeah, and they're incredibly kind people. They always are. And the director, they Tom, what they do is they sit you down, and they ask you, even though you've answered the question, they're finding out how you'd answer it differently. And they know the moments of what they're going to use. So you think, didn't I just already did this? I did this question.
Wow.
So you go over and over and over. Then
It's almost like doing another take in a movie, giving them a
Right.
couple things to work with, right?
Yeah, and it's like, break for lunch, go back and do it again.
Wow.
And just sit in a chair, and you got the crew around you, and like I said, they're just more than kind to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's okay. I said, far away.
You know, the crazy thing is a lot of these crew members and the director, the producers, they all grew up with this story. So it's almost kind of crazy for them interviewing you, seeing you for the first time. And Kato has that magic charm of, just bringing joy into the room and making everybody relax. But 8 hours, that's a long time.
Everybody in the room had a OJ story. I can't remember all the stories, but everybody would come up to you like during, take a 5-minute break. They go, oh, Kato, I met OJ one time.
Right.
I met I know Nicole. And everybody there it's the 6 degrees of separation. They know someone that was involved, and they tell me the story. So I go, it's really interesting. I'm sure it happened to Jill. They probably too. To Tom Lang was on our show. Everybody has a story.
Yeah. And Jill, I'll get your perspective of the filming. But, I talked to a lot of people that are involved in this case, obviously. Pablo, the next door neighbor. Remember the one that, heard the dog wailing? He doesn't want anything to do with this story anymore.
Plaintive whale.
A plaintive whale. And I get that. For some people, they've talked about this for so long.
Yeah.
They want to move on. Jill, you've been at the epicenter of it for so long. Everybody wants your perspective. Is it an automatic yes when the docu-series people come calling, or did you do you say no, or talk about the Netflix one and if it was different, and were you eager to do it?
I was eager to do it because of who Netflix is, and then I got talked to Michael. He talked to me multiple times, wanting me to do the show, and I said, okay. Yeah, very nice guy. And then I met other people on the show, and like, this would be really professional, very kind, because I was trying to put a little bit of behind me, and I liked Michael a lot. He was like, no, come on in. He really got me involved in it.
Yeah.
So, but I don't say yes to everyone. Like even right now, I'm getting calls about this Netflix thing. I did something with people last week, but I just think it's overkill. I mean, I hate to
but
use
now
that
they
word.
want you to promote it, right? I mean, they want you front and center.
Help promote it. So I'm doing that for them. I'm fine. I'll help promote this, and because they're really good, like you say, good people. They really treated me like gold while I was there. I was there at night for 4 hours, sitting in a car cold. So going over my story over and over again.
Yeah.
But it was dark, and it was like I felt like I was in a horror flick, because the wind was blowing. It was fall.
So they set you up in a car to sort of reenact.
In a
you're driving
Bronco.
car?
I was driving in a Bronco.
Were you really?
Yeah. I was like,
in a
Wait, time
92,
out. They
93?
interviewed you in a Bronco?
in a Bronco.
In that same kind of Bronco? Or
Similar to that, because I was sitting in there outside in this Bronco, and I'm like, Why not a bug? you
What-
know,
Why? So the perspective of someone driving the car. So you did your
I did
story
my,
because I know in your you've done this show before that they did the series on FX.
Mhm.
And I think correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it where the lights? You said the lights were off in the Bronco,
Right.
but the series puts the lights on the
On.
Bronco, and that's an important thing that they
Right.
shouldn't have done.
and I got on
'Cause
the
that's why you almost
Scott,
hit it.
Scott, the guy Scott, I called him on. I said, "Why would you?"
Scott from the
from the-
FX series.
Yeah, that one.
Okay,
yeah.
Jeffrey Toobin wrote. the-
Yeah, that's
okay,
the one. So
got
I
it.
called him and said, "Why would you have the lights on?" That's the whole reason I didn't see him. That he goes, "Well, we had to make it look that no one could see the car or something like that coming on the screen." Like, but that kind of diffuses the whole reason why I didn't see him. You know.
Well, and so your lights of your car lit up his license plate because they have the reflector. That's how you read it, or you were just that close?
I was the lights. There's a gas station right there. It
Yeah.
was 76 at that time, 76. So all the lights from there, and I saw his shiny rims on the Bronco, and then the way he was catacorning me, I could see his. I had my lights on too, but I could see his license
Right.
plate. But the main thing I flashed in my eyes were the shiny rims. If I didn't
Got it.
see that, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have hit him.
Yeah. So Tom took me. We did the thing where I saw the Rockingham House again. So
Right.
Tom took me to there. We did it during the worst traffic ever. It was like people getting out of work. Tom did an illegal use. First of all, I'll explain.
Tom Lane?
Tom
Oh,
Zenner.
Tom.
He goes, just Kato, follow me. We'll get a shortcut. I'm 2 cars behind him. I couldn't make it. He made it. He went. He said, "Screw it. I'm going through this red light." He went through a red light into the U-turn, and 2 cars back were cops. He didn't get pulled over. I
did?
swear to you, I'm not kidding you. I said,
You did or
Tom,
did not?
he did not, and I couldn't
Oh.
believe they
Allegedly? Oh no, I did not get pulled over. I
did not
may
get
have
it.
done the U-turn, maybe.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
oh, allegedly.
It's not on
It's
camera,
possible.
so it's
Anyway,
okay.
I lost Tom there, and I was like, oh, the traffic was so bad. He showed up. It took me 20 extra minutes to make it, and I was 2 cars behind him
Wow.
Yeah.
because I missed that one light.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, do you think they planted you guys out in Pomona for a reason, or do you think it was just cheaper to shoot out there? I mean, that's a long way
It was
away.
a great location. Like the whole neighborhood's still there. Like people live there.
Oh.
It looks like a neighborhood.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You go, is it because of, obviously everybody does budget. What's the budget? But why that location? I don't know.
They
They-
don't
well,
leave
they-
anything to chance, though.
but they
I
could
mean, they must have
control
thought
the
about that
environment.
exact setting that they wanted. The lighting was just right at a certain
Well,
time.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was desolate. So maybe they're
Well,
looking for the.
They also told me they could control the street shoots, all the streets. They could control the environment. There was no traffic, no people to get in the way.
Right.
And there were other people filming other stuff in there too.
Yeah, I was amazed, Tom, because actually there were like I think at least 2 feature films going on.
Yeah.
It's gigantic. it's the campus. You're on the campus that's closed down from the school, and I'm like, okay, there's the film crew. I was at the wrong one the first time. Then I said,
I
"Are
did
you
the
guys
same thing.
Netflix?" They go, "Yeah, it's Kato. Park your car."
Kato, you're the consummate entertainer, or you just bring life and entertainment value to kind of any scenario you're in. You've done a lot of these interviews.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of documentaries. Every one has to have you. Do you ever feel pressure? I got to give them something different, or maybe, present this story in a little bit different way with a little bit different spin. Or do you ever try to guard yourself against feeling like you're saying the exact same over and over again?
No, I think it's whatever the question is. Some of the questions are different, but I honestly I just do like I do our show, Start Something Else Wrong. I try to bring the energy and everything. If there's a chance, you know me, I'm all about happy light, and you can't really do humor in it, but there is the type of the humor of if it's a different kind of a question, not to involve the murders, but something about the energy of whatever. If waiting for my testimony was in a bedroom closet, talking about that. It's like I came out of the closet to do the interview for the. I basically stayed at the trial in a room that was probably smaller than a prison cell, and no air. It was just me and a dark one light. And I couldn't believe this is what I was put up in, waiting to go on stand. So, anyways, but to answer the question, no, I whatever they ask, I try to just bring whatever energy and keep it going.
How about you,
Because
Jill?
Long time. I sat there a long time.
Right. Do you find that they ask you anything differently? Have you been able to unearth some different ground through some of the interview questions, or what's your philosophy when you go in there?
Well, my story is just so short. I mean, I don't know, a minute or two of what I saw, and so I just try to say what happened to me, what happened. But one of the things Chris Mahandi asked me about,
Now, Chris Mahandi is
Chris Mahandi, we did that series in 2017
Okay.
He asked me, well,
On
did you-
what? On
on OJ.
yeah, on a network. Where was it?
It was on was it
Discovery, I think.
Discovery.
Okay.
And he had asked me questions no one had ever asked me before. Like, did you see anyone else in the car? I'm like, I never thought to look. I didn't think about that.
Right.
You know, did he have a hat on? I'm like, I didn't see a hat on him. You know,
Yeah.
so I think I was never asked that. So, but I was like, no, I don't ever remember seeing anyone
Yeah.
else in the car.
Because
with him.
that's actually an important question. that
Yeah.
never- not even in your interview process.
Nothing.
You know, you say you're only on there for a minute or so, but it's not. It's there's so much more to it because you're basically seeing him there. So that minute is so important
right.
that you know. Then they have to check out your story, who you are, background checks, and you obviously with Tom Lang is that you check out to be very credible.
yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot that minute was
True.
sort of life.
Such a defining minute.
Yeah,
though.
but it's a lot to ask of you to think of more memories from something that was random, because at the
Right.
moment you didn't know the implications, right?
Right.
So think about any just common thing that happened to you 30 years ago where you almost got hit by somebody.
Yeah, and they
Happened
asked
to
me-
all of us, and now we're supposed to all of a sudden
Yeah.
remember what color the left fender was,
Right.
and you know which direction
Or-
was the
yeah.
right
Did they see?
wheel.
Did I see blood on his hands? Did he have
Yeah,
gloves on?
it
All
almost
these
like
things,
puts
and I'm
more
like,
pressure on you,
I'm
doesn't
like,
it?
yeah,
to
it
think
makes
that
me feel bad that maybe I didn't catch something. You know, like,
Right.
oh, I didn't think of that, and they didn't. No one ever asked me that.
But your moment is it's easier to remember because it was OJ. Like you recognize it was it was just regular Joe off the street. You don't know who it is.
Right, and I had just
So-
seen Naked Gun 33 and a quarter, just like probably 2 days prior, was sometime close prior to that. So I recognized his voice. I knew it was a football player, and that's when I
So
kind of
he's
got in trouble.
Recognize his voice. Why? Did he actually talk to you?
No, he was yelling at the other driver, move, move, get out of the way, because there was that gray Nissan that was blocking him from moving forward.
I didn't. Tell that story. I
That
didn't.
was
hear it. I've
Jose.
never heard this.
Yeah, maybe walk us through the whole thing again.
I don't
Driving
know.
down San Vicente, where you
I,
were
'cause I
headed.
remember him actually. You hearing his voice.
Yeah, and that's in my transcript.
Oh, definitely. Because you weren't sure if it was Marcus Allen or it could have been OJ.
I was thinking it was Marcus Allen,
Mhm,
right? And I was thinking, because I knew it was a football player or an actor, but so good looking guy, right? I was,
And just
so,
a Naked Gun. That's
Yeah.
For our, because we have new viewers every single week, right? A new
Okay,
audience.
yeah.
So why don't you just walk us through it? That night, just you were leaving work, trying to
Leaving
maybe
home.
leaving home,
I
get a
was
little
leaving my
salad
home in
before you
Santa
got home.
Monica. I'm going up east on San Vicente. I knew I had to get to Westward Ho. At that time, it was Westward Ho by 11 because it closed. So I was just trying to get something to eat. I was starving. I'd woken up, had the flu. I was hungry. So I'm really flying up San Vicente, going the speed limit. No, just kidding. And then I get to the intersection of San Vicente and Bundy. So I'm going east, and there's a Bronco flying north up Bundy. And at that intersection, there's a gas station there. There's a school. There's a church. It's pretty well lit.
Mhm.
So this Bronco white car comes flying down the street. I swerve to the right so I don't hit him, and he had his lights off. And then he misses me, but he kind of goes up on the corner median there. There's like a little brick, and then there's grass. And then his left front tire went up on there. And there was another car going west on San Vicente. And this is all in the transcripts of the grand jury too.
Right.
He was blocking OJ from going that way north. So they were kind of jostling. It was like 3 times. You go, move, move, move. That's how I recognized his voice.
What was
so
the other
they
car?
were
What
going
kind of-
back
what was the
and
other
gray
car?
Nissan.
Gray Nissan. Okay.
And so they were going back and forth. After the third time, OJ backs around, takes off north on Bundy. So it took like 3. I remember it was like 3 times. I was just watching. I was like, what's going to happen, you know?
Like, either there's going to be a fight, maybe, or something.
Yeah, or something. And
Shit.
like, I figure like, well, okay, why is he so angry? And then I realized it was OJ because he said, move. He stuck his like head out, like, move, you know?
And we're talking minutes,
Yeah,
right?
this
He
is
would have just
happening-
left
Yeah.
the scene of the crime.
This is like between 10, I would say around 10:45, 10:50, because I was close to getting to Westward Ho by 11.
Did you watch the TMZ special that Harvey Levin did
Oh, yeah, I did.
on his theory
Yeah.
of what happened that
The
night?
knives.
Yeah, well, he also said that AC Collins was waiting in his office, in OJ's office on San Vicente, and they switched Broncos,
Oh, wow.
right? So that, I mean, it's funny. I mean, he was pretty emphatic about his thought about what really happened.
Yeah.
And just with the amount of time needed and how there was no more blood found in the Bronco, he thought that he drove to the underground parking garage at his office and then switched Broncos with AC Collins, which makes it seem way more premeditated, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he was going there to kill Nicole, but man, it's just Like, do you look forward to watching this Netflix thing and see what they did with your interview and how they tell the story? Or
Kind of nervous a little bit because I actually haven't watched a lot of the shows I've been in. I just haven't watched them. My friends tell me about them. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But I probably will watch this one, though, because I think it's going to be really good. I want to see how they tell it. But I always get a little nervous because I'm like, it just brings up a lot of people will start. Then I get more attention. Like right now, people are calling me more and more. And I'm like, you know, I get butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah, I do too. Because you never know
Yeah.
how the edit goes and what you said. So you kind of like,
And it doesn't
and
seem
I
like
don't
I'm,
remember because that was a while ago. And I just,
some of the stuff, yeah. But
was
also, it's like
long.
I'm not able to completely. Maybe we'll never be able to put this behind us. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like it keeps 30 years later. It's still here. People come up to me and stop me in the store and start asking me questions, and I'm like, and I'm always a little apprehensive. Like, are they coming up to me to yell at me because I think I'm a part of the conspiracy to frame OJ, or are they going to be nice? So you're a little bit on guard sometimes.
yeah, because everybody's an amateur detective, right? They're all
Right.
reading through what you say and trying to pinpoint it and see if there's any,
Like
discrepancies.
if I say my story from last time I checked, they're going to like compare it. You
Yeah.
know.
and the story doesn't die also, Tom, because that was 30 years ago. Everybody's 30 years older, but then there's a whole new audience watching that's only 12. And then so
Right.
it just kind of like
Yeah.
keeps going in a circle and it keeps going on
Yeah.
as a story. So people, it's like us, we get a new audience every time. So it's a new audience, an introduction of someone going, oh, I never follow that OJ thing. I'm going to watch the Netflix series. And then you are in the news again.
Yeah, especially
Because
when
a
you go to
whole new
Netflix
group.
and you see what's the #1 show this week, and it'll
Right.
be right there, and you'll
Right.
automatically click on it. And then the connection with the Kardashians, and
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
still modern day connections to it that
exactly.
brings in all ages of the audience. But when you talk about, okay, so this thing's dropping on the 30th, you have no control how they portray you.
Right.
Right.
Your words maybe get twisted. Now they won't. They'll do a great job, I'm sure, Netflix. But a little bit of apprehension, thinking, okay, are they twisting this a little bit? Are they using this to maybe try to sell a little different storyline or something like that? So you just
Yeah.
got to let it fly, right? And
Yeah.
just let the chips
Because
fall.
like you, I had to go over my story like a million times. You know.
And I don't remember. I remember I had to do an addendum to it. I think it was for the show. I don't remember because I've done a few docs where I filmed it while OJ was alive. Now he passed away, and I think I went on a show.
I think that was the one on Tubi, because
Okay.
we both had to go back there and do more interviews the
Okay,
day
so-
he died.
So this
Oh.
is on the Netflix series. They're obviously going to do a show a whole thing because they have to add on that he had passed away since the shooting of the documentary.
Yeah.
Which is I'm interested to find out how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
As the years go by, Jill, you got caught in such a weird position, right? Because you should have testified. Marcia Clark didn't use you because you took the small payment from hard copy. Do you become more at peace with this every year? Because I know this used to, rattle you a
Yeah.
little bit, and you took it very much to heart.
I did.
But I hope, that you can kind of let that go. You were thrust into a situation you had no control over. You did what seemed to make sense at the time.
Yeah.
And then they used you as a villain, right? Marcia Clark could have that scapegoat, that out. If things don't go her way, she can blame you, which
Yeah.
she tried to, right? I
Right.
mean,
I blew her case is what she said to me. Yeah. So
a little bit more emphatically, though, didn't she?
yeah, she goes, you blew my case. And
A
I'm
couple
like,
F-bombs.
Yeah, a lot of F-bombs. And then I had to hire an attorney to protect me from her.
is that in any show? Is that in the documentary?
I think it's in Jeff Toobin's one.
Okay,
where
so
in a
you-
fit of pique, she dismissed me.
Okay, so you know Jeff. You've talked to Jeff Toobin before.
Right, a lot.
Does he know this part of you that the whole how important you were? Because the FX series, I don't know what they because I don't remember. I watched it, but it's so important. Did Jeffrey say they blew it? They should have used you himself saying it, or does he put you in the show that shows Marcia saying no? F this girl.
I don't. I know that I'm not sure of what it said, but it has Marcia getting angry at me. It show in her office. It shows me in her office, but I don't think it was as graphic as in Jeff's book, because Jeff's book said in a fit of pique, Marcia basically stupidly dismissed Shively, and he stood up for me on multiple occasions. So I don't. All these things kind of jumble together.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting because of Toobin
Yeah.
was prolific writer of lots of the OJ stuff, and it was they won 8 Emmys,
Right.
and a lot of it's embellished. I know because there's a lot of things that would never even happen in this.
Right, and not the same
So-
as the book. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the key grip over here. I'm just raising
I
the
love
mic
it.
a little bit.
It's kind of my Wizard of Oz oil can, oil.
That's what it sounded like. By the way, hey,
oil.
I think we're going to get Jeffrey Toobin on the show. I'm working on that right now.
That's good.
So
So
then I'm going to ask him
Yeah.
that same question. So, but he took your side in that because he had to be blown away of knowing that this girl saw him in a Bronco coming from Bundy, that timeline.
Yeah. I mean, he spent a lot of time with me and my family interviewing us on multiple occasions, coming to our home, my mom. I mean, it was just like doing a whole history on us. And I got to know him pretty well, and I respect him, admire him, you know? And he's always been good to me.
It's amazing. He didn't call me at all for that. It blows me away.
He didn't come to interview you for the book?
No, and the choice Billy Magnuson didn't. I didn't know if that was due to the writers that don't meet Kato. I don't know. But Billy Magnuson, who portrayed me, was more than kind in interviews about me. And yet, I don't know any actor that would never want to meet, regardless of anything. I don't know who doesn't want to meet the person they're going to portray, whether you use it or not. But it still, to this day, does not make sense.
No, and Romeo and Rosebud never met me either. I'm like, well, why wouldn't they want to meet us?
I guess they just go to the transcripts or whatever, and they just make their mind up.
I guess, but you're accessible. You'd think Tubin would want to talk to you.
Yeah, we'll have a $2 million fee.
Man, if you'd have lowered that to 1.5, you might have been able to do it.
I'm kidding. There was no fee.
Hey, Jill, you know Chris Darden very well.
Yeah.
Has he ever flat out told you we made a mistake? We should have put you on the stand?
He apologized for Marcia. That's all basically what he said. He apologized for Marcia.
At what point did he apologize? After the trial?
Way after the trial.
Okay.
Like, yeah. And so of my small world too, Chris, his son goes to school with my niece, or went to elementary school with my niece. And so
in California.
Yeah. In
Yeah,
West
Chris
LA.
Darden's son goes to school with her niece.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Chris Darden's son Chase, I don't know if we bring him all this stuff, but good kid. So my niece Ava and him went to elementary school all the way from kindergarten to 8th grade together. Even more. So then Chris Darden was my daughter's Zoom during COVID online. One of her teachers during a criminal justice class. And so it's a small world. We keep running into him.
It is a small world of stuff.
And he lives like a mile away from me.
Yeah. On the trailer for the Netflix doc, Skip Junis is in it. You're in it. You're in it. I mean, you guys are key, pivotal. They're only going to put the really monumental personalities that drove that story in the trailer. Skip, I think, plays a pretty big role in this.
Like I said, Tom, it's all that, like the Boston bombing show, it's all timeline.
Right.
Everything is timeline in the show, which that's why I think it's so compelling. It
Yeah,
just shows you where you have to be, where he could have been. And it shows Skip Junis was on our show. His story's compelling.
Yeah.
He just did the People magazine with me too last week too.
Skip did?
Yeah. He said
From his remote outpost in Washington?
Yeah, and he doesn't do cell phones.
Hey, remember when we were interviewing him and his phone kept ringing?
Yes.
Oh, that was
He
hilarious.
couldn't figure it out.
Hey,
But,
he doesn't do a lot of interviews. He did our
No.
show. By the way, if you watch the Netflix doc, because we're taping this a day before it drops, now you're watching this to get the behind the scene perspective of the filming of it and more just great OJ content. Go back in our archive, because everybody you see on that documentary has been on this show. Skip Junis, Jill, obviously, Alan Park, the limo driver, was on twice. He never does interviews. And Tom Lang, obviously Kato. There's a few we're trying to get, and we will get them.
What about Kim? Was she on? Is she in the? doc?
I've been in touch with Kim.
Okay.
And I think she did this Netflix doc. I think she's in.
she did.
Yeah,
I
she's
think I
in
saw
it.
her in the trailer.
Yeah. You know, what is it about you, though, that you have this connection with so many different people on both sides, the prosecution, witnesses, defense, OJ, you're friends with the Browns, the Goldmans. What was it? Because you didn't even testify in the trial. Did you make relationships during the
Sometimes people just
grand
come
jury,
to me,
or is it just that your personality?
People
Yeah,
just
it's
come to me
great.
and start
I
talking
agree.
to me, and like Tanya
Brown.
Tanya Brown, Kim. I just seemed to run into people. Well, one of the deputy DAs was his Scott Gordon, who was going to do the domestic violence presentation for the trial, and they threw that out. His son went to preschool with my daughter. I mean, LA is just so small. You keep running into people, and people approach me all the time and they start talking to me. I'm like, and I'm just me. I tell them, I try to just be me, and then they're like, "Well, I'd like to talk to you." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I have no problem."
I
with
mean,
that.
Tom's right. It is amazing how Darden, your niece, goes to school with his son. Tanya Brown, the Brown family, Nicole's sister. You met Kim Goldman. I don't know how well you know, but you met the Goldmans.
I did that one interview with her, but
met
I've
her-
talked to her a couple of times. She's actually really nice.
Yeah, and there, Tubin. It's like incredible how many people you know and have like a relationship that you actually talk to these people.
I still talk to all the people like 30 years later. I talked to Dominic Dunn until almost the day he died. You know, it was like he did a lot. He would give my daughter gifts. My daughter was 5 at the time.
Because you met him also,
I
right?
met him. People would come to our home all the time and like, hey, you know.
But what is it? Okay, and Dominic Dunn, by the way, is also one of our guests. Show recently, Dominic's in big player in the Menendez Netflix series.
That's right.
And, you know, he's the writer, so Nathan Lane plays him, but big part of it. And his daughter was murdered.
Right.
So it's really close to his heart to write about this, and that's why this trial meant so much to him. And I don't know if you noticed, Tom, his son is Griffin Dunn. Griffin Dunn, the actor from American Werewolf.
Well, Dominic Dunn's one of the most fascinating guys.
Yeah.
So his background, his story.
His sister is Joan Didion.
Yeah, and so how did you become friends with him?
Well, all these people came to my home.
Well, you had to invite them, right?
No, they
because they showed up to talk to you, and then, hey,
so-
come on in, let's have some lunch, let's have some dinner. You want a cup of
I don't
coffee?
know if you. I'm sure you had that experience. On day one,
Yeah,
they were camping out at your door, and they were just camping there and knocking on your door, calling you. Somehow, everybody got your phone number.
Yeah.
So they're like calling. I'm like, okay, But Dominic was an older, nice gentleman, and he was just always kind. He would come bearing gifts for my daughter. Like, that's the way to charm, right?
Yeah.
Strategic.
Well, yeah, because he knows how to get the right person for the show.
So my attorney, whom I had to hire, Jim Epstein, his partner was the one that defended the killer of Dominic Dunn's daughter. So that didn't go well. So we didn't bring up that.
It's another crazy connection.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. LA's just too small. Yeah. So Jim Epstein, who recently passed away about a year of cancer, he protected me. I gave him the $5,000, but for the 30 years, this guy was by my side and became my friend, and took my daughter to places. And
Wait, time out. The producer at Hard Copy?
Oh no, Jim Epstein, my attorney friend who defended me against Marcia Clark.
Okay.
And he went to high school, played football with Phil Van Adder.
Defending you against Marcia Clark? You mean you had a lawsuit?
No, she would call.
Oh, he said defend you like as a friend.
Yeah,
like a buffer.
Yeah, buffer. Like he told her, you can't call her anymore. You can't have her come and pick me up. Have a car come to pick her up because she wanted to talk to me more and more. And more.
Right.
So he's like, if you want to do that, you have to call me. And then that's when he met Phil Van Adder, and then they talked. And then at the time, David Kahn was actually going to be the trying deputy DA. And he was like, Marcia, you got to leave Jill alone. I'd done a background check on her. There's nothing bad about her. Not even a parking ticket. I remember him saying that. And then he got demoted because he won the Menendez trial. And then that was going to be an election year. If he won the OJ case, David Kahn would have been the next DA.
Yeah.
So it was political, a lot of stuff political too.
Yeah, you almost had to make a decision early on, almost like a fork in the road. Do I talk to the media? Do I let my story out, or I just clam up? Because some people would just slam the door, not want to talk to anybody, but you did witness history. And did you feel like you had a responsibility to share that story of what happened? And even though you didn't testify, which you should have, everybody believes that you were such a key cog in this story, still are. You're a big star of these docuseries that come out. But did you almost like tell yourself, okay, I'm either going to do this or not? And once you did that, it opened the floodgates where people keep coming back because you're a good communicator, right? And you're an honest person. So are you glad that you made yourself so open?
Well, in the beginning, after I did the hard copy interview, I felt like I blew everything. And the $5,000, I felt like it was blood money. I'm like shutting down because I was getting offers like I turned down over $100,000. Like, no, I'm going to stay credible. I'm going to try to clean up my reputation with Marcia Clark. I was like, I want to be a part of the solution, not the problem. So that was my attitude. I'm going to stay positive, turn it. And then, but since that day, I haven't taken any money like from any of the major networks or anything like that. So I just feel like it's not okay. And then I think originally Jeff Toobin did an article called Checkbook Journalism, and it was about me. And that's how I met him. It was how, and the Jose Camacho, the knife guy, how it can influence witnesses, but it doesn't mean they're lying. You're just getting paid for being a witness.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point because you still tell your story, you still swear on the oath, and it's just your fact is a fact. You saw it. You saw him in the Bronco.
Well, plus I turned in the license plate number, right? And then also I said this time. I could have said 9 o'clock. It would have been a total. They would have known it was a lie because it wouldn't have been in the timeline.
Right.
I'm like, either I'm really lucky about making the right time if I'm a liar, or this really So that was the thing. David Kahn, everyone talked to Marcia. Well, I don't need her. I have enough circumstantial evidence, anyways. I'm like, okay.
If only it were that easy, right, Marcia? As far as memorizing the license plate, he must have been coming at you aggressively for you to think, okay, I've got to make sure I get this because we don't have camera phones back then.
Right.
I'm going to report this dude because he's probably drunk. He almost took me out. He might take somebody else out. So were they an easy sequence of digits to remember? Are you good at memorizing things?
I'm didactyl, so I remember numbers really well. I don't always remember names, but I remember numbers. So just they flash. I can tell you people's phone numbers to call them, but I don't remember the name. So it just sticks in my brain.
Oh, you never wrote it down. You just all from memory.
Well, I actually wrote it down when I got home on a piece of paper.
Right.
On that, and so I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget. But what made me mad was I felt for two things. OJ looked mad at me like I had almost hit him. It was my fault.
Right.
So I was kind of angered about that. And then someone I thought was self-entitled coming through here could have killed me, a small bug. I'm a single parent who's going to take care of my daughter. So that was like, it kind of made me mad. Like he was giving me a dirty look, like I had done something to him.
This is so important that, so you wrote the number down at home and you call the cops then.
That
so
night
now
before midnight.
That also puts a record of a phone call about OJ.
Right.
And you didn't think about no one. That was never actually even brought up. I don't think but they obviously know he was at this location. So it's sort of like holding your cards close to the vest. It's something they don't want to
disclose right away.
Yeah, right. It's because
they didn't want it to get out.
We know if there's any lie, we have proof that it was OJ at this time.
Because when I called in the second time, like my mom told me, you better call in because we just found Nicole and Ron murdered. So I called in the next day, and they're like, yeah, we have record of that call because they record all the calls.
Right.
So even if it's not 911. And the lady had taken down like what I had seen, and she was going to dispatch a police officer to my home. But I don't know if the time she realized what was going on when she took the call. So
how long did it take for the shit to hit the fan where you're in a whirlwind, right? Cops, detectives, investigators are coming to your door. Maybe the media at this point, your name gets out. So the murders are on June 12th. Monday's the 13th. When did your life really start changing?
Monday the 13th, right away. Actually, what happened was they told us, we're taking your information. No one will know about it. Within 12 hours, people are calling me and coming to my door. So who leaked what out to whom? And I remember one time Keith Islamovich.
Yeah.
We were at the grand jury, and we got lost in the grand jury elevator. We went down to the basement. We were trying to find the way to get out, and all these media people just start coming at us. We were like, what do we do? So it was just from, I would say, so Monday, 7 a.m. by 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock that day, it was all over everywhere.
Yeah. Did you ever feel threatened? Did you ever have anything weird happen? Somebody knock on your door, threaten you, or offer to bribe you, or things like that? What are some of the crazy stories that people wouldn't believe?
All I remember is this guy named Skip. I don't know Skip who it was, but he was sent by Skip, and they were offering me $40,000 to go on vacation. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Oh, it was sent by the defense.
Okay, well, Skip was there was
an
a
investigator, I think.
Oh, well,
a white
also
guy.
OJ had a lawyer named Skip Taft.
Oh, well, then maybe so. I don't
Skip
even
Taft
know.
was a big part of his. It was his. I don't know, it was entertainment. I think he was his deal maker, lawyer of all the different hurts. And Skip was a very, very, very big in OJ's life.
I don't know if it could have been him then.
Because we did Skip Junis, and I think I mentioned that. So Skip Taft was and very credible and well respected lawyer. And
I thought there's other guy. Named
I don't know if
Skip.
it's the same Skip.
Yeah,
though,
there was another guy who was an investigator too named Skip.
Yeah.
But they were offering me money to go on vacation. So at that point, I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm just trying
His
to.
last name to my Lou.
That's to my Lou. Skip to my Lou.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, Tom, it's like sitting in the interview. You got to break it up a little bit and get back and cut.
Now
Kato.
to the serious question again. Quick segue. That had to make you think, though, that the information you had was important. If someone's willing to offer you $40,000 to go on vacation, right? Hopefully not a permanent one, but a $40,000 offer to go on vacation, meaning we don't want you around town. We don't want the authorities hearing anything more about what happened to you.
Right. We don't want you talking to anyone. Is basically what they said. We'll protect you. Right. And then I asked them, well, who are you? Where are you from? We're from the defense. And that's what I remember them saying. At that point, then I started feeling a little scared because I'm thinking,
Yeah, but what if you turn it down, and what are they going to
Yeah.
do to force me to take the money or to go
Offer a
away?
cake and refuse.
Yeah.
No.
Or how do you not know that they're saying they're taking you out? Yeah, 40,000, sure. It's sort of like the scene in Scarface. The helicopter leaves, the guy gets hanging. F. Murray Abrams. You never know. It's like, oh, I'll take the money. Yeah, you're gonna
Too late
get
now.
rid of this girl.
But I think what I said was I got to talk to my attorney and I'll get back to you. And then like, do you have a card? I said, and then no, we don't have a card.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm
right.
like,
They don't want to be on
Yeah.
record.
I've got to talk to my serial killer cousin.
Yeah.
Let me check with him. He stays here 3 or 4 times a week.
but he has lots of guns.
Yeah.
Yes. The doctor will kill you now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
it has turned into this phenomena that people can't get enough of. I mean, people love this topic because it's so fascinating. It connects so many worlds, media, pop culture, fame, celebrity, wealth, power. They all intersect here.
Tom, it's you're exactly right. If you think about this, you could just kind of sit down and say, who in the trial has like a show or has been on TV? You look at the start of it. It's Bruce Jenner becomes Caitlyn Jenner. Huge story.
He said, she
That-
said.
He's right. So we got that right. But big part of the story. Then you've got the Kardashian girls involved. Everyone a billionaire. And you got Kris Jenner and her life with the keeping up with the Kardashians. Just that alone on that family, people are
Yeah.
they want to watch.
My friend in Minneapolis sent me this morning, just ironically. He sends me this, and I'll put it up on the screen. It's OJ Simpson, Bruce Jenner, and Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football.
Right.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Howard Cosell, and I just looked into the future, and you're not going to believe the shit I'm about to tell you.
It's
Right.
I've seen that. I bet
Bruce
that's-
Jenner / Caitlyn, and then
Oh my
OJ.
And it's a real shot. And I said to myself first time I said, because I've seen that before. I go, that is just incredible. It's just
That's
incredible.
amazing, yeah.
And you would not. That's the best line. You will not believe the future.
Mhm.
But did you know that 2 days before the murders that Jay Leno went to a movie with OJ?
No.
I just found that out because
Do tell.
Jay Leno did a fundraiser because for the Gross and Burn Center. I was at a burn recently and I had to go through surgeries.
Back in the 90s?
No, just
Oh,
recently.
okay. So you just learned
Yeah.
about this story now.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
found out about now because Jay Leno did a fundraiser for the Gross and Burn Center. It's a fantastic. It saved my life. I had
Right.
a horrible burn. So, but Jay Leno was saying 2 days or something before the murders, he was out at a movie, went to a movie with OJ.
And you know what? Because I did the Jay Leno show, and that show will never be seen again. It's in there. They call it the Vault,
Wow, why?
and it was
The episode you were on?
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Everything about it went wrong, and I was, in my opinion, now I like Jay Leno that they put in a vault, because Letterman asked me to do a thing, and I read the bit, and I thought it was hysterical of that because it wasn't trial related. And I love Letterman.
Me too.
Mine was the actual sit down guest because Bill Maher was my friend at the time. I did Politically Incorrect, which was the highest rated and kind of put it on the map. It was huge. So Bill said, "Would you come on the Leno show? He wants you on." So the connection, Leno wanted to be involved with that.
Wow.
And at the time, I was doing a little stand up with Louis Anderson. I didn't do the stand up on the show, and it was just everything was wrong about it. And in hindsight, I agree it's wrong in a way. But I was still a guest. I answered the questions. But then he went on a show after.
Who's
Good
he?
Morning America. Leno went on a show and said that he made a mistake. He never should have been on. So I was like almost bawling, like, well, you. What,
Wow.
so it's a lot. And by the way, it's fine. It's like vaulted, and it'll never
It
be seen.
aired, right?
And I've seen.
It obviously aired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was on live.
What
It was-
is the regret on Leno's part or whoever?
I
Was
don't know,
that it was
network-
distasteful? Is that what they kind of landed on?
I think at that time maybe America thought it was distasteful. There's nothing said
Right.
about really. It was nothing distasteful about the interview, or he's great. I'm making sure I'm protecting myself. I'm not saying anything bad about.
right.
It just happened. So, like I said, I saw Leno like a month ago, just driving next to me. I said, "Jay, it's Kato." He goes, "Hey, Kato."
Oh
I was
my-
with my
did
other
you really?
friends. Yeah,
That's
I put it
crazy.
on my Instagram
Okay,
page.
yeah.
It's on my Instagram. I go, "Jay Leno."
He's such a
hey.
sweetheart. He's a burn victim too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And then he
Grossman,
got the burn
fixed his
and
face, his ear, and then,
then he-
Jim did the thing where he fell down the hill.
That
Yeah.
whole thing.
That got
And by-
over 1 million views.
And by the way, everything I just said was I don't think I can get in trouble with that.
No,
So
facts.
I did the show and that's it. And I loved doing the show. And Bill Maher today is still my friend. So I did the show as
when you left the show, the taping in Burbank that night, did you think something was off? or did you think this was just another normal show, or are you surprised it's in the vault?
At that time in America, it was a biggie for me to be on a show like that, and I thought the crowd was like incredible because I was surprised kind of guest. You won't believe the next person coming out, and then it was me, and sat down and did the show.
That's cool.
Still have my nameplate to that show.
Did you ever do Letterman?
No, but the want to hear the bit was because on Letterman show, which I love, and Letterman was the #1 talk show at the time, and just hilarious. So Letterman's doing his monologue. I was in a few different bits. I did his show. I was on by tape. But this one I didn't do live, where Letterman is doing his monologue and the lights keep going off and on, like black thing. And he's going, "What is going on there?" And so Letterman does the walk off there, and he sees me in a room with a blow dryer. And it's a show, and it keeps blacking out the set.
Oh my
and then we have a dialogue.
God.
Kato, I'm doing my monologue. I go, "Is it dry? Does it look okay?" Yeah. So
That's
and so he goes back
hilarious.
down there, and then he goes off again and on. He goes, "Kato, it's still you." Oh,
Oh, that
and
is
they cut to
funny.
the camera, right? And it was like,
Our editors are really good. They'll probably
so
dig this
that
up.
is
I hope
that,
they do.
That kind of clip is more endearing,
Yeah.
and I regret that I didn't do that because that was more my style of showing a sense of humor, and it had nothing to do with the trial. It had to do with my kind of the trial with my hair, but it was the perfect
Yeah.
bit. Damn.
David Letterman's from my high school in Indiana. Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
high
it's-
school? In
it-
Indianapolis?
Broad Ripple in Indianapolis. And Jane Pauley went there. Wayne Gretzky was in my class.
How was? Because he played minor league, right, in Indiana.
He
Wayne
would play for
Gretzky.
Indianapolis Capitals.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a year ahead of me. But
Remember when
David
Dave-O
Letterman-
used to
Broad
talk about his
Ripple
mom?
very well. It's a party street. It's a party city.
Right.
Everybody goes to Broad Ripple.
Right, they have all the pubs, all the
Yeah,
bars.
I-
You
I've
know
been there
there?
many
Wow, that's cool.
I have a very big connection to Indiana.
Did the
Really?
Menendez brothers go to high school?
No.
Last week we had one of Menendez brothers'
she's
classmates.
connected to that.
Yeah.
But
You know,
no.
maybe the difference too, Letterman and Leno are so different with the style of show, number one, but one's in New York, one's in LA,
Yeah.
you know, where you're in the middle of it. You feel it. It's in the air
That's-
every single day.
That's exactly, you're right.
Uh-huh.
That's what it was sort of too hot here.
Yeah.
New York would be a change of scenery.
Boy, he
Right.
jumped all over it though with the dancing Itos and
Oh, yeah, that's
you know,
right.
every single night on Leno. It was
that's
the
right.
topic forever. He milked
Right.
that thing for years.
And I love Leno. I love Letterman. It was like, boy, it's like it's a coin toss. But in hindsight now, it's Letterman would have been the right choice at that
Yeah.
time.
I think so.
And by the way, and Leno, love him.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
Donated money for the burn center. I mean,
He's got a tough life too with his wife and
with dementia.
You know,
Doesn't even recognize him sometimes, you know. So yeah, but he's out 3 nights a week doing shows, or if not more.
yeah.
No, he comes to Hermosa.
Yeah, on Sunday
Frequently.
nights. That's where we had the fundraiser at Hermosa.
Let's get Jay on the show. He does
Yeah,
I'm in.
I
Why,
did.
why not get Jay on?
Jay-
Okay.
I think
Jill,
Jay
you're in
will probably
charge.
do that,
I'll
'cause
get
No,
him
did-
on.
why wouldn't he?
I
And
did
that-
Orny Adams' show. Orny is a comedian friend and did his show, and the week
Yeah.
after was Leno. So it's all very tight knit with comedians.
Yeah, you know, problem with Leno, he doesn't have a car to get over here. You know, he doesn't have anything to drive.
Oh yeah, I'm like what?
Like 3,000 cars, like 9
Well-
warehouses.
Well, warehouse in Burbank, that's right by the airport. I think he's got a hangar.
You can
there.
carpool, the two of you.
Yeah, you can
Come in
carpool with
together.
him.
Tell him you know the way. I'll
Yeah.
take you to the back streets.
Well, you know, I've seen him. He's doing a lot of shows right now. I
Yeah,
just saw
Friday,
him on,
Friday and
Jesse
Saturday
Water.
nights at
Yeah.
Flappers.
No, even on new shows.
Oh,
There.
yeah.
He's open to doing things. I think he wants to do things. I think he keeps him very busy.
falling down hills too.
Yeah.
Do you think, how big is this story going to be in 10 years, in 15 years? Will it I mean, 30-year anniversary follows but then there'll be a 35th anniversary and there'll be
Right.
another reason to revisit it. I don't think it'll ever go away. I mean, it's just too big. It encapsulated too many things that are still out there front and center.
Right.
And we're talking about, you know, think how much TV coverage there is of this, how much archives there are. And there's still a mystery element.
Yeah.
There's still things we don't know about this. I'll tell you what, if I could interview one person and they had to tell the truth about everything, where every dot would be connected, it's A.C. Cowlings. If A.C. Cowlings decided to do a pay-per-view before he died and said, hey, folks, I'm going to raise a couple billion for the 13 generations after me. Here's what happened. There isn't anybody that wouldn't watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Think how many
They
things
were-
he's connected with. The
they-
Bronco
they
chase. He was at
Yeah.
the funeral for Nicole. I mean, he was
Right.
OJ's guy. He knows everything.
yeah, I think so too. I think he.
What about we tried to get Rosie Greer on? Remember, I sent you that email. He's not doing any.
And
interviews
Rosie
anymore.
Greer
Was
had the confession,
confession.
from
Yeah.
OJ in prison.
Yeah. So, well, like example, the Manson murders are still being made in movies of. So, and that was 68, 69, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter's 35. So all her friends right now are listening to everything that they can get about OJ.
Well, I think
new
also the Manson.
generation.
I think the Manson thing became popular again because of Tarantino, and with the DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then people were focused on it was it's his Tarantino's vision of what happened,
Right.
and then it gets bigger, and so every true crime show, or every show that has Netflix or anything, they've got a whole series of killers. So
Right.
Manson's one of them, and people love true
Dahmer,
crime.
true crime.
Every podcast, number one genre is true crime.
Yep.
Because people love being detective and
Right.
love seeing the mind of crazy people to know that, hey, I'm not really crazy. They're a lot crazier.
Exactly.
Boy, this is the third time we've had you on the show, all different studios each time.
And then,
All
I know.
different and new things I learned.
Yeah,
every
no
time.
kidding. One thing I don't think I've asked you on all the times you've been on the show is, how did the grand jury testimony go for you? Was it successful? Do you think if you had been able to take that and plant that into the real trial, it would have made a difference? What do you remember about that?
Okay, the grand jury, you're sitting there, Marcia Clark's there asking us questions. The grand jury's passing her questions like in a note form because no one can speak but I guess Marcia. So then did my diagram on the board about how the Bronco, how I almost hit it. And the questions they asked me, I remember like, did I write down the license plate number? How did I remember that? They would ask me questions like that, or they seemed satisfied, and Marcia Clark was happy with my testimony. But it seemed like it went by. I had my attorney there because I was just kind of feeling afraid, but it was just so secretive and so scary and so sterile. It was like such as this.
Who's the defense lawyer?
For
On the other side, who was there? You had Marcia. Did they ask you questions, or is it just Marcia Clark?
I remember it was just Marcia.
Okay.
And then
Because
the
you
grand
brought it as the
jury.
grand jury. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, because they just want to have enough evidence to take it to trial.
To say yes,
Correct.
this would be a trial.
So I don't think there was a defense attorney
Yeah.
there. But
When
it was,
when you left, did they say, "Hey, you're going to be testifying in the trial. This was great. You did a great job."
right, Marcia said to me, you did great. I'm happy with your testimony. You basically stayed on facts. So that was what she had told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So she was happy with it, and she was, it's like basically don't change anything. I'm like, well, I was thinking in my head like, what would I change? Like so stay on.
Yeah, the
stay on-
truth doesn't really waver,
Yeah.
right? You just described exactly what happened. Was it still fresh in your mind? Because this isn't too long after the actual crime, right?
Right. It was a month later.
Yeah, July. I think
so,
late
yeah.
July.
Yeah, a month
It's
later.
like a PowerPoint presentation they do.
Yeah, that
And do
was
that
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's it. My dad actually did a PowerPoint presentation, Tom, on me of the importance of when I was a kid,
wow.
of the importance of condoms and all that. But it was just pictures
Really?
of me on slides.
What?
Our studio audience is trying to hold back some chuckles back there.
It was just slides of me. I know no one knows that Michael said, "Michael, you can laugh out loud." I guess not.
Michael, don't hold back.
You're gonna crack Michael up.
All right.
Yeah,
You
when
guys, it's a smart
Kato
you-
goes to historical references about something that happened, and then
it's
it's
just-
attached to modern day technology, I get a little suspicious.
Yeah.
Your dad did a PowerPoint presentation back in
Back in
1971. Yeah, that's
The
good.
importance of condoms, yes.
Yeah.
But it was just pictures of me. He didn't want
Birth control. Oh,
birth
God.
control.
Birth
Speaking of
control.
birth control, Michael's wearing clogs. That's another. Michael, Jill's brother, is wearing clogs, which is also a form of contraception.
Context. Hey, here's a
Maybe-
question.
I had to say
yeah,
that,
you
okay.
did. The bug that you own, the car. When did you get rid of it?
Someone crashed into it. My daughter was all upset. Why didn't you save it for me? Someone crashed into it like
famous bug.
96 or 7. It
And
was
you
split-
work for an
it was split-
insurance
it-
company.
it was
What is
split
up
in
with all
half.
these things? These near misses and these collisions.
I don't know. That's a good question, but never been my fault.
Right.
That's a different kind of bug on a windshield.
Yeah.
It was an actual crash.
Well, I feel like Mrs. Magoo sometimes. I'm driving
You're
down
in
the
it.
road.
You were in it. You were in the car when it crashed.
No, someone crashed into the street. But
Oh,
sometimes,
in the
sometimes,
street.
sometimes I'm just driving. All these cars are crashing behind me. I don't understand why. No.
Jeez, odds of that if it was a Bronco
Right.
with no lights on, then I'd worry.
They
about
made
your
the
life.
Mayhem commercial
Yeah.
series after you.
Yeah.
Mayhem like her.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
you know what?
understand.
Someone would pay good money for that car. That almost collided
Well,
with
that's when someone did
OJ's.
offer me money for that car one time. I said, "Well, it's been demolished. You know, it's in the
Yeah.
junkyard now."
Mhm.
But it was a yellow
Wow.
bug.
Yeah. You know, everybody
daughter
could say,
wanted it.
you know, and this is just the easiest question in the world. Do you have any regrets? I mean, that's old news. It's just
Yeah.
everything. Does your just comfort level about speaking about this ease, and does it become more easy and you can kind of let go some of those feelings that you've had in the past the longer this goes on?
Right, I can. And actually, after talking to Kato and then Alan Park and Tanya and other people involved, like in you, it's just it's like you guys understand what we went through, and I don't feel so alone.
Well, and I also think it's
You
easier
know?
when you know who the interviewer is. It makes you more open, and if you're
Open.
not scared of like, am I being tricked into something, or what are they? What's going on with this interview? Is this guy, person, whatever, trying to get? What are they trying to get?
What's
the
the
information?
angle?
So now, exactly what the angle is, but this you get very comfortable because the third time on our show, but you open up and like I said, it's like more
Well,
new
people
stuff.
like you feel like people try to catch you, like changing your story. And like my story's the same all the time. It's not
Yeah.
much, but it's the same thing. I only did this one thing, and
Yeah.
the one time. And then if you ask me other questions, like they asked me about was anyone else in the car, I'm like, oh no, I didn't see anyone. You know, things like that. But mine's not that much where you can change.
Yeah, we do it on our show here all the time, and Tom always asks what you think, the people out there, what you thought of the show, and if you watch the Netflix series, tell us what you think. On this show, your comments of this, because it will air. The series will be aired. If you binge watch what you thought of Jill's part in it, my part in it, or whatever. But I think this will be really interesting on this show to find out people's comments. To always bring the comments back on our show.
Definitely. And Jill, I'll tell you what, the episodes you've been on still rack up huge views.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know.
Thousands. I
Yeah,
bet
yeah,
1,000 a
great.
week easy.
Wow.
I mean, and comments still. You know, people just feel like they want to comment about your testimony, about your recanting of what happened to you, something that's been ingrained in your mind. People think, no, I'll tell her what really happened. Or, you know, they try to trick you or catch you or
Right.
something like that. It's
Right.
got to get annoying. Have you been able to just block that out?
Finally, you've actually helped me with that because I've actually just like, okay, there's always going to be someone who, no matter what I say or do, if I had taken a photo of me and OJ there together, they would say, oh, yeah, that was manufactured.
Right.
You know, they're not, because they just don't want to believe that I actually either saw him or that he could have done it. So, and I never took sides. One of the things Marcia Clark got upset with me about is, well, why do you think he was there? And to me, I didn't want to believe he did it either. I'm like, well, I think he was drunk, you know. And then when I found out what happened, I'm like, well, maybe he got scared. He saw what happened, and the first person they're going to blame is him. So he's fleeing the scene. He's scared. But so I was thinking then, like, well, he was.
That's interesting perspective.
Yeah.
How you said that he saw maybe not that it happened, but it's like that would be a perspective to say, oh my, I got to get out of here. They're
Yeah.
gonna think that I did something
It'd
wrong.
only be natural.
Yeah.
Because
But
at
all
the
the
time, I
evidence-
didn't want to believe he had done it. I thought, well, maybe he was there and saw something happen and he's freaking out. But I was more leaning towards, oh, he couldn't have done that, you know. But wasn't my role? That wasn't my job as a witness. Like, here's what I saw, and then they can interpret what they want. But why Marsha asked me that, and then she got mad at me because I was saying something different. And I'm like, well, then just stick to what you saw.
Well, yeah, I think I understand her point too. It's like you don't want to have the jury think about possibility the way I just thought because you.
but you
stay-
wouldn't
they-
ask them that, right?
No, I
Yeah.
would stay with the facts. Then she paints the picture of what exactly happened.
Correct.
And there's so much evidence against him.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
in hindsight, yeah, and
Yeah.
after you did that book, if I had done it,
Yeah.
that was just too much for me.
Yeah, think about OJ Psyche at the time, right?
Right.
It's a flight, right? He's out of there. And think how many things are on his mind. I got to ditch this weapon, the bloody clothes. Holy crap,
Right.
what did I just do? I actually murdered her, right? I don't want anybody to see me. I got to get this flight. I got to make sure I come up with some crazy timeline with Kato, whatever he's got to do. And he's not, you know, paying attention to the road and boom, you know,
Right.
almost a collision with you.
Didn't turn the lights on. Maybe he's trying to be under radar.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Did you do a move where you didn't collide? Because if you had hit him,
I
there's a
moved-
murder scene a half mile or less than a half mile away,
Right.
right?
Blocks away, just
blocks
blocks
away,
away.
where
Right
the
on
dots
Bundy.
would have been connected, right? And there would have
I-
been so much more
yeah.
evidence too inside that Bronco.
Well,
Yeah.
I just swerved to the right. There's like a fence right there, so I'm swerved this way. So I'm looking at the tail end of his car. That's how I was able to see him cat a corner and the license plate and him.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect way for me. But
I look at it as like a karma thing, like a person leaving a scene of a crime. What are the odds that what happened with Jill and another car? What were the odds of that to happen? But it was meant to happen in hindsight. Like he's leaving the scene of a crime. Oh, like, easy ride home. Going to get this. Oh my God, this car almost got hit too. Someone got my license plate. All that within seconds.
Seconds, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like meant to have happened.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
But I was out someone doing some insurance for someone not too long ago, and I went to the 869 and a half South North Bundy, and I was just kind of giving me
Same street.
I was having heart palpitations.
Yeah.
being there.
Well, we were there last summer.
Yeah, I did.
And I went in the alley, Kato, and go in the alley. It's creepy.
It's creepy.
It just it has that vibe.
Yeah.
You know, because it was in the news for so long. You know what it looks like. You know what happened there. The alley for me, because that's where OJ parked.
Right.
And then he went around. And just to think, man, right in front of me was OJ's Bronco doing that. And all these images you've seen so many times on TV, and
Right.
it's all still right there.
yeah. I
What
think
about
it's-
the knives that supposedly Harvey Levin was saying that he had there? He always had the knives, and that's why he was going to go slash Nicole's tires. And he'd
Yeah.
done that before, but then he ended up killing her. That's his theory.
There it was. Yeah. No, I thought it was really good. We're going to get Harvey in here.
Yeah, and Harvey also said something about he followed a limo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
No,
right.
that was during the trial.
During the trial?
He went with his producer, and they went to go back into that alley, and they think OJ was there too. No, they know he was. And then OJ, he was in a limo, and he took off, and they followed him all the way to the gates of Rockingham.
Wow.
And OJ got out.
What
The way
was-
he describes it's
Yeah, you
chilling.
gotta hear, so- yeah,
it was
it
very
was-
dramatic.
we're gonna get
incredible.
Harvey on.
Hey, last thing from me. And I don't know if I've asked you this. Did Marsha Clark ever apologize to you?
No, never.
Do you
Never.
think she ever? Are you holding out that maybe she will someday?
I would just, I don't know if she'll ever apologize, but I would just like to have a one-on-one with her, like, hey, here's me, who I am, and you were so off about me.
Mhm.
So I used to be so angry at her because I grew up I was always like, people were always nice to me, and she was like just treating me like I was a criminal.
Yeah.
So it kind of affected me, but not as much now. But
Right.
I would like to have I would love to have a one-on-one with her and like, hey, I want you to meet who I am.
I think she would do it. I mean, I think Marsha Clark has no grudges.
Well,
I don't think so myself. That she's like, okay, she's on to something else.
yeah, but you know what? She's had 30 years to do
Yeah.
it, and
No,
she
I
hasn't
know,
done
exactly.
it. So
yeah,
She spent a lot of time, like in her book, telling, basically knocking me and things like that. So,
you know what? In my opinion, she owes you an apology. I think she
so.
does.
oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that she's so busy, like, oh yeah, okay, sorry.
and then what did she got $5 million for her book?
Yeah.
Right. But to think, she is looked at as a failure of this trial, and trying to
Oh.
live with that. I think human nature is, who can I blame? Who can I subtly blame? It wasn't my fault. I can Darden, Jill, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
not excusing it. I just think, hey, we all know that there was a lot of circumstances here. You were never going to win,
Right.
more than likely. It was rigged.
Right.
Like Kato said, the AFC Championship was. I disagree with you. Get over it.
100%.
Get over it.
I think when you look at that Twitter of all the things that happened, it would 100% in 100% Kansas City. It was beyond rage.
Can I tell you something funny? So Kato's, railing, against the officials in the Chiefs game against
Yeah.
the Bills. I
Right.
didn't think it was that bad. I go, hey, Kato, by the way, the referee is one of my really good friends for the last 30 years.
I just wonder which. I want to know which.
Oh, no.
I wonder what ref he was because that.
Cleat, the white hat, the referee.
Okay, what's his name?
Oh,
Cleat,
Cleat
you said?
Blakeman. You know who he is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know. This is not a sports show, but I'll go into this thing. When Josh in the fourth down where he does the dive and that they show the ball over they show the yellow line. It's all over Twitter. How it's not even close, and then they have two referees, one going where the ball should have been, and the other guy going this, and this guy was facing the wrong way of where the ball was. They give him the ball and the spot. It made absolutely,
Oh
at
my
ti- but it made
God.
absolutely no sense that was the ref that should never. It was not even facing him.
Wow.
It was the back to him. So
Hey, you know how you fix this problem? It's easy. You don't put chips in the ball. You don't have to do any new technology. Here's what you do.
you hear it.
Here's what you do.
I agree. You hear it if you
No.
hit the.
Here's what you do. You beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody will shut up until you can beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're gonna get a little break here and there.
I'll tell you, the hardest thing is it's two teams. I can't stand either one. I can't win. It's like if Kansas City wins, I hate it. If Philadelphia wins, I hate it. And the bad thing about Philadelphia is, the people of Philadelphia are going to just riot. They already
Right.
rioted and they treated the Washington fans horribly.
But who are you wanting to win? Who is your team for football?
Green Bay
Packers.
Packers.
Oh, Green Bay Packers.
It's
Green Bay
Packers are
Packers.
death.
Yeah.
Everybody else sucks. I'm
Yeah.
going with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Give me Patrick 3 in a row.
Three-peat.
All right? Sorry. By the way, Andy Reid is the greatest NFL coach of all time. I think I may have mentioned that
Used to
Bill
be a
Belichick
Packer.
is not.
Started as a Packer coach.
Oh, wow.
Quarterback
Done it
coach.
all.
Yeah.
He's a tough coach, too.
Yeah.
You know, he's
I
got
like
that folksy. I saw him on an episode of Diners, Dive-Ins, and what is the show? The Guy Fieri show,
Yeah,
Diners,
yeah.
Drive-Ins, and Dives,
Right.
right? And they went to a Kansas City barbecue shop, and Andy Reid was there, right? He was part of the episode. You talk about a classic dude. He shows up with his own rag or towel to wipe the grease, and he was ready. He had it. He was like,
Oh
he
my
knew
God.
that he was going to attack this food,
That's
and he was like
funny.
going to make a mess.
I can't handle it anymore. No more fumble rooski. Fumble rooski. Doo-ba-doo.
I
If
love it
see
all. I love it all.
I have
More
State-
commercials.
I have State Farm as my insurance. Because the commercials, I'm canceling
Oh,
tomorrow.
that is funny.
I love them. Sorry, Kato. Jill, anything else? I'm excited to see the doc tomorrow. Can't wait. Hear you tell your story like in a marvelous fashion, like you always do. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
such a
Thank
great
you for
friend of the
having
show.
me. Thank you.
All right. So,
Airing on Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year,
all right.
and this documentary.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So drop the
tomorrow.
comments in here and go back and watch Jill on some of our other episodes. Go back and watch our entire saga from last summer. Alan Park, Tom Lang, Skip Junis. We're going to have Michael Radutsky, the producer of the Netflix show, and a ton of OJ themed guests coming out throughout the year with the one and only Kato Kaelin.
My camera.
I'm Tom Zenner. Follow us on social media. Listen to our audio podcast. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it yet, and we will see you very soon.